we're super excited to start the season. It's been awesome. We got into this building August 25th, and the vibe and energy here has been incredible. I think we've had an extremely productive off season with guys in the gym. We're very, very fortunate to be the best market in the league where guys live here 12 months of the year. So to have the group together has been terrific, to see the growth of some of our veterans and our young guys taking steps moving forward. We're really, really looking forward to the season. I think we're going to be extremely competitive, hard playing, tough, high IQ group. I think our defense is going to be significantly improved due to some of the offseason additions where we really wanted to address having multiple point of attack defenders. It's been a weakness of ours for a number of years. I think there's a great deal of pride in our group and what we've done. We feel extremely fortunate that we have the longest active consecutive streak of winning seasons in the NBA. We're also extremely prideful to have 2 first ballot Hall of Fame players who all they know in the regular season is winning. Kawhi is first of all active veteran players, I think, who have played 400 or more games in winning percentage. James is 6. And those guys, when healthy, they make the playoffs. And that's what they've done. I think we have a really, really good group around them. The vibe and the chemistry, and it's easy to say that in September and training camp, but just really, really excited to see this group come together. And then a couple of you guys called me, so I'll address it right now. Last week, just about Kawhi's status. So his right knee, the swelling has significantly gone down. It's almost gone. He wants to participate in everything in training camp, but we're going to hold him back from drill work and really focus on strengthening, because the goal is to get him 100% so he can have a great season, not just this year, but for many years. We'll have a detailed plan, step by step, kind of measure, just having objective measures to go from one phase to the next. But he's super determined, super excited, and can't wait to get started. So without further ado, questions? Okay, this was fun.
So you said you guys are holding him out of certain drill work?
Yeah, we're not going to have him do drill work. So we're just really going to focus on strengthening and loading. I think we learned some lessons. Just if you think about, he desperately wanted to come back and play in that Dallas series, and within a game and a half, the inflammation came where it wasn't manageable. So we don't want to put ourselves in that position. He's spent after the Olympics a lot of the season just with a lot of strengthening. We want to continue doing that so we can get him 100%. Yeah, but I would say it's very, very positive in terms of just kind of all the things he's had to manage since the end of the season. I think we're in a really good place, but we want to keep it in a good place. Well, I think the encouraging thing is we've seen progress. This was a real tricky thing in terms of the inflammation. We're kind of searching for answers along the way, and I think with time we continue to learn more and more what works, what hasn't, and from there, I mean, it's truly unfortunate that he's had to deal with this, but I think we're definitely trending in the right direction.
How much of this would you say is more preventative than it is what he's kind of dealing with right now? As in, like, you said working on strengthening, so.
Yeah, I think it's more just seeing a bigger picture that, again, what's fresh in my mind is, we got the knee in a really, really good place, comes back for Dallas, and it's been manageable since, but we really, really have spent the offseason of trying to get this 100%, and I think we're getting closer and closer. So, yeah, I'd say, for him, he wants to participate and do all these things, but we also want to make sure we're not skipping any steps and get him right.
Do you expect Kawhi Leonard to be ready for the regular season opener?
Yeah, good question. I think that the timing's all going to basically depend on how his knee responds to each phase. So no one has a crystal ball. We're trending in a really, really good direction. I know he's super determined to have a great year, but the timing, I think when it comes to your body and your health, I don't think you put time frames on it. I think you just have to respond to how he responds.
Given all the fluidity with this, what are your expectations of what Kawhi can do all this season?
I think Kawhi's going to have a great year. I mean, he's hungry. He's determined. He's, when healthy, one of the greatest players in the world. He has a great deal of pride. As you guys know who follow us, he has an unbelievable work ethic. He takes pride and ownership in being a Clipper, and he wants to give his best to his teammates, the organization, and our fans. And so I know he can't wait to get started.
Knowing where Kawhi is now, what you guys know now, did the training camp with Team USA affect that at all? Did you see certain things there that led you to believe that this is the best course of action?
Yeah, well, I think the thing what we saw, look, obviously he was cleared medically. I watched him prepare for it. I was there at the first two practices, and I was really disappointed that they didn't give him a longer runway. And look, many players deal with swelling. So there's a point of manageable swelling, and then there's a point where, okay, if it gets worse, that's when it could have, further risk of injury. So I think with all that being said, the swelling didn't subside the way that we thought from a timing standpoint. And so it just took a little bit longer for the swelling to get to the point to where it's at now. So again, I'm encouraged that it's happened now, and now we want to keep it where it stays that way for the entire year.
So it's along those lines, with you guys losing PG, is there any level of concern that Kawhi may not be able to take on some of the bigger responsibility that you guys may need to put on him this season without another star?
Well, look, I mean, Kawhi is one of the all-time great players. So great players, will always, the cream rises to the top. But I think it's a good question, and we looked at just from a roster construction is to try to make it where he doesn't have to guard the best offensive player, that we have multiple people we can throw at. We can play him at different positions. Yet at the same time, the great players, they rise to the greatest moments. So I'm sure, fourth quarter, key moments, Kawhi's going to want to guard the best player. But we now have a number of different options where it doesn't necessarily have to have that wear and tear on him. But, when you're one of the best two-way players in the league, like you want to play that way. It's like Superman flying without his cape. He's not a normal human being. This guy's special. So I'm sure he'll be the same great two-way player he was this past year.
Lawrence, how is Kawhi doing mentally with yet another knee injury that he's going to have to deal with?
Well, I think he's encouraged now. Yeah, I think he's encouraged. I think we're starting to see some light at the end of it. We wish it would have happened earlier and quicker. But, you go through all the different, training, treatments, modalities, you turn over every stone, every rock, you consult all the experts. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's encouraged that we're very much trending in the right direction.
Was there concern that you guys might not get to trending in the right direction as far as his knee is concerned and the inflammation?
I think the thing is, it's just a matter of when. The body's hard to predict. And, you just try to get the best minds. You search, near and far. And, Kawhi, obviously, all he wants to do is to be healthy and stay healthy and to figure out different ways we can do it. So the process, it's, you just never know when. But I'm glad we're at least trending in the direction we are. And now we want to keep it that way.
Besides Kawhi, is everyone else good to go to start training camp with real work?
Let's see. Trenton Flowers had wrist surgery around 10 weeks ago. He won't be going through training camp left wrist. We have a couple other guys who are a little dinged up. I won't give you their names now. We'll update you through. I mean, minor injuries. I'm hopeful that we have them back, but we may have a couple, for the first couple of days could be modified, but we'll give you an update as we get closer to camp.
Given the moving parts with Kawhi's injury, Russ's departure, PG's departure, what do you expect James will look like as far as what's similar to last season, what might be different?
Yeah, James been awesome. What's always hard when you get traded, and even though it was after 5 games, when you don't go through a training camp and you can't develop those bonds with the team, and now to see him fully immersed, he had a players only retreat at Arizona State where he organized everything, and the feedback from the players was it was the best they had been a part of because it was professional in that, like, the games they played every day were very serious, but there was joy to it. And they did a softball game middle of the week. And I think he's just really immersed himself. the unique thing about James for one of the great players of his generation, he totally immerses himself with the team. He's part of, not separate. And when your best players do that, it's very uniting. The other day we were doing testing in the performance room. Like, he's all in doing it. They're doing sprints, the young guys. He's all in doing it. He comes in on on the weekends. So it's awesome just to watch James, how he works. I know he's determined to have a great year. We do have ears. We do hear what people say about our team, and our guys are extremely motivated to have a season that hopefully surprises a lot of people.
Last year when you guys got him, he's had that famous quote, like, I'm not a system player, I'm a system. With what you're going with Kawhi now, like, how comfortable is it to have a system in James and the way he operates for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I think that quote was taken a little bit out of context when you go through the whole thing. But I guess then James wears a T-shirt too, so I don't know. I think the advantage of having James for the period of time, T. Lue also has a great way of being able to play to James' strengths, but also more importantly playing to the team's strengths. The pecking order will be pretty clear, this year, which makes things easier from probably an offensive standpoint in terms of we know who we're playing through. And I think James, even watching him, out there going through all the, drill work, there's a lot of things James can do. He's obviously one of the great pick and roll players, but he understands basketball at the highest level. He's extremely high IQ, and I know him and T. Lue have talked about different things that they want to be able to do.
Where do things stand with Terance, extension talks and things like that? You guys had conversations since we last spoke, anything like that?
Yeah, ongoing. We continue to have them. I think we're hopeful we can find a deal. We'd like Terance to be here and be here for a long time. And yet we're also respectful of the business side of it, that it has to make sense for both sides. But we have really, really cordial dialogue and continue to have them. And, I guess time will tell. But we hope we can get a deal done.
As it relates to not just Terance, but players across the league, what are your thoughts on this theory that a guy can increase his value into a season? Like, guys who might have certain value right now, we're in preseason, and you need to see something to say, okay, this is what we are looking for, we want to commit to this, or you see someone across the league and it's like, like they might have come into the season injured, but now they've shown that they're healthy, they show they can still play at a high level, we're more interested or something like that.
Yeah, I think it would depend on the player. I think with Terance, someone who's been with us for 6 years, he's going to be 28 probably during the season, and we've seen him in all different scenarios. Because even the year where Kawhi missed because ACL and Paul played 32 games, Terance had to take on a bigger role. We've also seen him. We've seen him as a starter. We've seen him come off the bench. And he works his tail off, so I think he'll continue to get better. I think, with it is he's always been, he won't be this year a slow starter, but he always has shot a high percentage. We just want him to shoot more threes. I think because of the makeup of our roster, I think he'll get back to being a really, really good rebounder for his position. But we have great faith in Terance. Obviously we place a high value on him, not just because he's a very, very good basketball player. He's extremely high character, and he's about all the right things. But then there's always the unknown. And the tough thing, I think, Law, is when you look at it across the league, if players have outlier years, you really got to dig into why. Sometimes it's who they're playing with. Sometimes it could be style of play. Sometimes it could be there finally was a pathway for them to play, where before maybe there were some other people in front of them. So you really got to dig into the why. But when there's consistency, by and large, most players just incrementally get better, with the rare exception of someone just having a huge breakout year, which not impossible, but it's probably more the exception than the rule.
Lawrence, you mentioned hearing some of the noise about your team and some of the expectations that you guys have and maybe wanting to prove that wrong. Do you guys feel as currently constructed that this is a championship caliber roster?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'll never put a ceiling on a team. I'm not naive. I have the internet, www. whatever. There's newspapers, so I know what Vegas is saying about us. So we're honest with ourselves. Yet at the same time, I'm not going to put a ceiling and say what we can and cannot be. I think the way we have it is if James and Kawhi are healthy, you have two heavy lifters who can still deliver night in and night out. I think we've definitely improved our depth, and I think we've improved the fits around those guys. Not perfect. And, I'm not going to read too much into it, but I do like kind of the chemistry and camaraderie of what I see. And then the biggest thing we have is opportunity. There's opportunity. So I think everyone knows kind of what to expect from Kawhi and James. Zoo, does he take another jump, build off what he did this summer? Norm, some of the guys that we signed this offseason, some of the guys that have been here, they're unknowns. And I think probably the way that T. Lue will approach it is there's probably a couple guys that are definitely going to play major minutes. The rest compete. Like if you want to be a competitive team, you have to have competitive guys. And if you want competitive guys to always be thirsty, they got to be fighting for things. And having that great internal competition, I think is really, really good. Sometimes can make it challenging for a coach to figure out, but I think it's going to be great internal competition throughout the whole month of October.
Going back to Kawhi for a second, I know there's a long way to go in his process to get ready on the floor. With the amount of back-to-backs that you guys had, I know you have to talk to medical and have to work out a plan, but for you guys specifically, is the injury management for him that he went through before with his knee, is that something that you guys will look forward to doing this year to kind of maximize what you get out of him when he is on the floor?
Yeah, I think you take all the inputs. One, just how he's doing, where he's at. We have so much data and information and just past historicals. Okay, what's worked, what hasn't worked. The sports science community will talk about undulating. In terms of if you're playing if you're starting to go like this, you need to. Obviously he played 68 games last year, which is the most he's played in 8 years, which was super encouraging. But typically what we do is we sit down, we get all the experts in the room along with Kawhi, and we just kind of take it month by month approach. And then you have to be ready to adjust one way or the other. So when Kawhi's healthy, he wants to play. What we also have to manage to make sure is that he's playing at his best both in the regular season and having the opportunity to finish the postseason and beyond. So we don't have the answer yet, but it's kind of an ongoing dialogue. But first we want to get him 100%, then we'll sit down and map it out and kind of take it a month at a time.
You mentioned Zoo. You guys obviously agreed to the extension earlier this year, this summer, what did you guys see there? Obviously, we talked before, but now that it's official, what did you see there in the confidence of getting him on the field?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely earned it. Super proud of Zoo. I think he continues to develop, and I think he's capable of more. I mean, you look at his, points per possession when we throw the ball into the post with him. He does a great job. And Zoo is a clipper. He's extremely durable. He's available. He's invested. He's not afraid to challenge things when things aren't, going maybe in the right direction. I think he'll have even more pride of place because he is, him and Terance are basically the longest tenured Clippers. So you're always super excited to reward guys. It's great to, and again, it's all Steve, but when you're seeing guys being able to, earn generational money and, they've kind of come through the program, even though obviously we didn't draft Zoo, but we consider them kind of ours. And yet I think, because there will be some questions about who fills in that offensive void. Zoo, I think James really helped Zoo, but Zoo really helped himself because, as great a passer as James is, he can't make those floaters for Zoo. And to add that as part of his game, his left hand significantly was better. And he had another, very, very, good summer. So we're excited that he signed, and we're excited what his future looks like.
How do you look at what some people would call the power forward position, like in terms of bigger players next to Zoo, bigger players per se, especially when Kawhi is there? Obviously, he played a lot on the floor last year, guarded a lot of fours. Like, how do you see that position as it relates to Kawhi and as it relates to really the league as a whole?
Yeah, maybe I don't know if this is a defense mechanism. I never used the number 4. So the way I look at roster construction, point 3 wings and a big. And so we have 3 wings. So in terms of it's okay, who's going to guard the 4s, right? And now there are some big, powerful 4s in the league, and then there's some other 4s that are basically 3s playing 4s. But I think we look at Kawhi, we look at Nico, look at Kobe, look at Derek can play the 4, PJ can play the 4, the and heck, I mean there are times we played Terance at the 4, Amir at the 4. So yeah, I think my biggest concern related to your question is we got to become a better rebounding team. So we're going to have to be a great blockout team, and we're going to need a bunch of guys to have career years rebounding the ball, and we're going to have to do it by committee. So yeah, if you had a bigger quote unquote what you call them 4, what I call big wing, typically those guys just because of size, strength, rebound the ball well, both not just in the area but outside the area. So, but I'm hoping by committee that we can really, I know it's a huge focus for T. Lue and the coaching staff, that we have to become a significantly better rebounding team.
Or is this maybe more of a tie question, but with the guard rotation, you guys obviously brought in Chris and presumably James and Terance to be the starting backcourt. How do you kind of see that guard rotation shaking out since you guys have a collection of guards that could all be competing for minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a T. Lue question. Like I dodged that. But I do think there'll be great competition for those spots, that there's not going to be necessarily tenure, like everyone's going to have to earn it. And then always, I think you go through the entire season figuring out, it's not just, look, everyone's talented. It's what players fit best together. What combinations can I play together? What combinations can I not play together because the skill sets may be, redundant or duplicative. But watching us, and it's pickups. You take it for what it's worth. But like we've seen Chris play both on and off the ball. His point of attack defense is tremendous, but he knows how to play. Like he's a connector, and he has great self-awareness of being a vet in the league. Like, okay, who am I playing with? James, Terance, Bones, Kevin. Like, I think all those guys have shown, in this month of being able to play on and off the ball, but more importantly, playing the right way.
Well, unless anybody wants to stay for the Usher meet and greet, which will be the last question.
When is Usher coming? Oh, okay. All right.
Lawrence, a couple years ago, Kawhi missed the whole year. PG played 30 games. You guys still had a winning season. Is there anything you guys can draw? I know the roster's changed a little bit since then, but is there anything you guys can draw as a front office, as roster construction, coaching staff, where you could draw from that year going into this year as like a positive?
Yeah, in this sense, big picture, this organization takes a great deal of pride in winning and always competing. And we've been very, very fortunate for 13 years of not having a losing season. And regardless of injuries, regardless of who the stars are, regardless of trades, the group has always found a way. T. Lue has great pride in that group, that, even though it was only 42 games, but to your point, to have, your 2 best players only play whatever 30 or 32 games, and for different guys to step up in different ways, and the resilience, the work ethic, like those are all core traits that you need. And we had some things, especially that year, we had some come from behind, victories. But I think that speaks a lot of T. Lue and what he's able to do, and also the makeup of the guys on our roster. And very much so, like I said, when I watch our guys work and they come in early in the morning, they come back on weekends, I see a very, very driven group, a very, very hardworking group. And look, the West is a beast. So we know that we're going to have to earn it every single day. Our habit's going to be great. Think about just how thin the margins are. So we finished in 4th last year. The difference between 4th and 10th was 5 games. I think the same thing was the year before that. So it's razor thin. So we got to be awesome in the margins and everything we do. But, yeah, I think T. Lue probably can draw some things. But it's more just kind of how we went about our business, how we work, how we deal with wins, how we deal with losses, than it is, probably strategy.
I think a lot of learning, but most importantly, just getting in shape. I thought last year the camp really set the tone for our season. I thought, having a hard training camp and being able to set the tone early was really good for us. I thought we got a lot of learning, a lot of conditioning, And that's going to be our main focus is having a hard camp, getting in shape, but make sure we're executing on both sides of the basketball.
With Kawhi dealing with the knee stuff, progressing but not there yet, I guess, do you have kind of like a game plan for how you want to work him into some of these practices over time?
No, we just got to, just go step by step and just make sure he's checking all the boxes. And, the medical staff is going to tell us when he's, ready to do everything and what he can do. So our focus is just, the guys are practicing. We got to make sure we're doing it hard, we're doing it the right way, and no shortcuts. And so that's got to be our mentality. Like every night we got to come out and play hard, compete at a high level, and no shortcuts. And so that's got to be our main focus.
So, obviously, losing PG is a big deal offensively, defensively. But with James and Kawhi, and when Kawhi's on the floor, like, do you feel that it can, I guess, in a way, streamline things offensively where it's two guys who are the main offensive hubs as opposed to trying to get a third guy to also be one and kind of getting everyone else to fit in around that? Can this streamline the process?
I mean, that's the idea. When you lose a player of PG's caliber, it's always tough to try to replace, someone, that kind of player. We understand it on both sides of the basketball. But with that being said, now, James and Kawhi, like I said, our focus as far as offensively, of course, Norm, but post Zoo a little bit more. And then everybody else has got to fit in around, to make sure that, we have the right spacing, we have the right guys with the ball in their hands, making the right plays. And so that's got to be our main focus now.
What additional responsibilities do you expect James will have in the departures and the fluidity?
More pick and rolls. Yeah, more pick and rolls. Scoring the basketball more, taking more shots. But he's a dynamic playmaker also. So, with the responsibility of being the best two players with Kawhi and James, they got to make everyone else better as well, and they understand that.
So Lawrence talked a lot about the internal competition that you guys are going to have for rotation spots and things of that nature and how he thought that's going to benefit the group. You do have 4 returning starters, though. Do you see that being a competition for that 5th spot, or is that something that you think just makes sense already with the
No, definitely a competition. I want everyone to come and compete, for their chance and opportunity to play. And so that's going to be, like I said, at camp, understand we got to play hard, we got to compete every night. And it starts in training camp, and it starts for those positions, like you said.
Ty, you got the new deal. First off, how did that feel to get that finally done? And
It felt great.
what does that mean for you to know the faith that they have in you as well?
No, it felt great. Like you said, for them to feel good about having me here, the relationships that we have with, like I said, with Mr. Balmer and Lawrence in the front office, I think they have a great deal of respect for me and confidence in me. And I have the same in them. And so the contract speaks for itself for just, me coming back here for, 5 years fully guaranteed. And for them to bring me back 5 years fully guaranteed just means a lot, And so, I'm happy to be here. Like I said, we have our own home now, which is huge. I can actually leave my shoes in the locker room and not have to carry them out after every game. That's big, and leave personal things here because now we have our own home. So that's a huge plus as well.
What's something that you? Oh, I'm so sorry. What's something that you learned over in Paris that you maybe want to teach these guys, or maybe want to translate this season?
Just hard work. The caliber of players that we had over for the Olympics, to see the work they put in every single day and how hard they prepared and how locked in and focused they were, to win the gold medal. And so, you see that, when you come back to our team, like our young guys, like being focused, being competitive every day, always trying to get an edge on your competitors and make sure you get better each day. And so that's what we had to do with the Olympics. Like, other teams have been together for 6, 7, 8 years, practicing for 2 or 3 months, and we had like 7 days to throw it all together, And so, we got better, a lot of film sessions, and so I want our young guys to see that, to be able to prepare like that, to get better, each day. So I think they will do that too as well.
How do you guys go about, y'all were dead last in passes per game last year.
How many?
Dead last.
Dead last. Okay.
Catch and shoot 3-point attempts. Y'all were good at making them, guys, and
Take enough.
y'all ain't taking enough.
Yeah.
How do you go about fixing that and addressing that going into this season?
Loft, to be honest, we got to play faster. I think we got to play faster. We got to make sure we're throwing an advanced pass, attacking early in transition. I think we have players that can do that. But then, like you said, we got to take our catch and shoot threes. Like, We've been showing it. We talked about it as a staff like all summer, even though I was gone a lot, just talking about how we generate more threes. But the big emphasis is that we got to take our shots. Like when we're open, we can't turn down threes. And so we got to get into the paint, get into the paint or die trying, and then making the right play once we get there. And so we've always been a good three-point shooting team. We just don't take enough. And so we've been talking about that all summer of finding ways to get more threes up and quality threes as well.
How do you generate those transition opportunities though when you have two of the best isolation players in the game who want to play more than a half-court set?
We got to advance it. And then if we don't have the advance and attack, they get it back, and then they're able to do what they want to do. But we got to change our style of play. We got to change the way I know we've been like top 4 or 5 in offense or whatever, but, we still got to change the way we play if we want to be successful. Like we know James and Kawhi can ISO, and they can get their shots and get their points. But we got to generate, open threes for our guys. We got to be able to play faster and attack. Say get to the rim early in transition. And if it's not there, then we always throw it back and get it to our guys, and they can make plays as well. So just playing faster, getting off of it, getting it back, and then attack from there.
Ty, what perspective can you share with this past summer with what you saw from Kawhi when he was able to practice with the USA group, and then what concerns the program had about keeping him?
I can't remember.
Ready?
Can't remember.
So kind of along the lines of my last question with that internal competition, you guys have a lot of guards that seemingly could be competing for minutes. Obviously, the returning starters are James and Terance, but when you look at the guard rotation off the bench, do you have any idea of how that may shake out right now, or is that something you have to wait and see in camp?
Something I have to wait and see in camp. I think having those guys compete and have a true competition, and then whoever wins it out will be starting.
What are some of the – so even the starting, like maybe guard position next to James may still be
We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
Huh?
What are you looking for in that competition?
Someone who could defend in that group, make open shots, be able to attack the basket, make plays. And like I said, T-Man's been great, at doing that. And so, we just got to see how it plays out.
You guys added KPJ on a multi-year deal this summer. Does that signify some kind of belief that you believe he can make an impact, in a rotation setting?
Yeah, he definitely can make an impact. I mean, you don't, get paid $20 million a year, in Houston if you can't play, So he's a great talent, and it's gonna be my job to make sure we get the best out of him. He can score the basketball, he can make plays, and I'm gonna stay on him. I'm gonna coach him hard, because he's a great talent, and for us to have success, he's gonna have to be a big part of that. So I'm excited for him. I'm excited for the opportunity to get to coach him, but he's gonna be a big part of it.
So it sounds like you've already kind of envisioned how you want to use him, where you want to use him.
Yeah, I have.
Ty, you bring Jeff, JVG on board to coach under you. What are you kind of looking for from him, coaching-wise this year? Like, is he going to focus more on the defensive end for you guys? And kind of like, what does that mean for you guys' relationship that you were able to coax him after so many years to finally, kind of be under you?
Yeah, I mean, it stems back to the Cleveland days, just trying to get, JVG and, and his daughter was in school, so he wanted to make sure he waited till she graduated. But to have him now, like I said, I'm just excited. I had a chance to play for him, had a chance to play for Stan, and just seeing what they were able to do as coaches, how they had the responsibility of both offense and defense, doing every shoot around, all 82 games, doing every prep, and just seeing how hard he worked, and how like disciplined you had to be on both sides of the basketball. If you was a half an inch off, he's going to get on you. Like, he's that particular. And so I think, having him back in the game, he's excited. I'm excited to have him. I thought DC did a great job, while he was here as well. But like I said, I'm excited to have JVG and, like I said, running the defense. And, I always give him stuff saying, like, he's not happy unless he's mad. So, we need that. We need that right now. And so he's going to be good for us.
How do you guys improve defensively? Like, what are some of the tangible things that you're looking for?
Play hard, play harder, rebound the basketball, and then get back in transition. I thought our half-court defense was pretty good. We can be better, but transition, like, that's just about, mindset and effort. Like, we got to be better at getting back in transition, even though we do want to crash more, but you can do both. And so if you can't do both, then you can't play. And secondly, I think rebound the basketball. Like Zoo can't be our only rebounder. Like our guards have to rebound. Everyone has to stick their nose in and rebound the basketball to secure and finish the possession. So we struggled with that last year as well.
Two more.
What's it like for you to get Nico back?
Great. Yeah, it's great. I think I talk about it all the time. Like, two of my favorite guys is, Deli and Nico. Just all about team, whatever you need him to do, whatever position, guard whoever. He's a great connector. Like, not looking for shots. He's not looking at stats of how many assists or how many, shots he's taking. Like, he just wants to win. And whatever it takes to do that, that's what he does. He's a winning player. And I'm very excited to have him back.
I know last year, a bit of a sensitive word, but when you go through training camp, do you expect to find an identity that soon? Is there like?
Yeah, we're going to find identity this year.
But is that something you can also like? Is that also something that can grow throughout the year, or is it something you need to see right away?
I think with 5 new guys, I think it's something that's going to grow throughout the year. I think acquiring really 4, but Nico's been here, but I just got to kind of see how they fit in and what they bring. I watch them on other teams, but playing for us would be different. So just kind of see what they bring, offensively and defensively to incorporate that. But our identity to start is we're going to be a hard playing team, a hard nosed team that's going to compete on the defensive end, every night. And so nothing's going to be easy, and that's why we got notorious JVG.
Thank you.
Yeah.